of Tarot by Hilary live. Give me a second here. Oh, my blue nose ain't showing as much as I wanted it to. It was better in the other room. Oh, wells. I swear, it's blue. See? It's blue. So, you may be wondering who this crazy girl is with the purple hair and the blue nose. It's me, Hilary. I am a professional tarot reader, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition, because yes, my friend, do not argue with me. You have intuition. I believe everybody has intuition. So in this week's episode, not a lot of notice really this particular week, but tonight, by popular demand for some of our regular viewers, I will be reading The Blue-Nosed Witch by Margaret Embry. This is, by the way, the 1983 edition, but this story is actually originally copyrighted from like 1956. Yes, the original copyright is 1956 by Holiday House Inc. So this is the 1983 version, very 80s-tastic, well-loved, well-worn. It's a Bantam Skylark, by the way, and I'm sorry it has that huge crease in the middle of it, but like this is a book from my childhood, so you know, I try really hard to keep my books intact. Anyway, so 80s-tastic, blue, I guess flip book style stuff going on here. Hold on, there we go. There we go. Can't do it the right way. There we go. There we go. Anyway, so that is on the agenda for this week. But as always, what I do is I will do the astro-weather, which is an update of the astrology for today and for the weekend. By the way, I am not an astrologer. I'm a tarot reader primarily. I get my astrology from those astrologers that I like and trust and work with. Then I will do the topic or teach the topic. So tonight there's no teaching. This is just me reading out loud The Blue-Nosed Witch. If you're not familiar with the book, you might be in for a treat. It is a children's book. It's about 40 pages. It's relatively quick to get through. And if you are familiar, like yay. If you're not familiar, then you're gonna get familiar tonight. And then, as always, I will wrap up the episode with our weekend forecast, which is either a tarot card or an oracle card. And right now, I do not have any of my tarot or my oracles to hand, so I'll have to grab that right before I do the weekend forecast. So if that sounds good to everyone, say yeah in the chat. We are simulcasting to both Facebook and to YouTube. I know some of my regular viewers are doing a social media sabbatical from certain social media channels. So I know that they're tuning in on YouTube instead of their usual Facebook thing, which is cool with me as long as you're able to view it. I don't care where you view as long as you're able to watch. So with all that caveat, let me know if you're having any audio issues or video issues. Hi, Devon. Welcome, 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 welcome. Glad that you're here live. And if you're watching this later on the replay, that is fine too, and you're most welcome. I hope you enjoy both the astro-weather and the weekend forecast and the Blue-Nosed Witch. If any of these messages or the things I say resonate with you, it's because they were meant to resonate with you, or you were meant to hear them at that particular time. So as always, take what works for you and leave the rest behind. By the way, speaking of that, I just posted the tarot card of the day. It is the Eight of Swords, so that is kind of a rough energy, and I know that a bunch of people I know personally have been going through it this week. We are still in the throes of Mercury retrograde, so keep that in mind when you're traveling, when you're communicating, when you're dealing with technology. If you're getting those snafus, It's because Mercury's retrograde. We're riding that energy right now. It will go direct on Election Day, November 3rd. If you are in the United States, that is Election Day. So anticipate the unexpected, anticipate tech issues or having to repeat yourself many times when you're communicating with people. Make sure you're clear in your communication and also kind, not nice, kind. And double and triple check your travel plans if you happen to be traveling right now. I don't know of anyone that's traveling right now because of the pandemic, but just keep that in mind. Oh, good. So Katie's saying never heard or read the book before, so excited to have it read. Awesome. Yeah. I mean, this is pretty. Keep in mind that this was last released in like 1983, and before that it was 1956, did I say before? So, I mean, there might be some concepts in here that are kind of outdated or outmoded, but it's basically the story of a blue-nosed witch that happens to be early, happens to start her Halloween night early and ends up going trick-or-treating with a bunch of human children. It's cute. It's quirky. I like it. I reread it every Halloween. So it's fun. It's more of a fun, lighthearted episode of Tarot by Hilary Live. So while I'm standing here, please feel free to, oh, goodness gracious. Okay. I'm wondering if this email is legitimate, but someone's been trying to invite me to a Twitter watch party for the Craft Legacy, and they've sent like 5 emails. I don't know if they think that I'm the influencer that I am, but it's interesting. They want to send me swag for the viewing party, but I don't know if I necessarily trust that or if that's just a phishing scheme to get my mailing address. I have no idea. So it sounds like fun. But I'm also partial to the original, the Craft. So, all right, let's see. It's just a fish. All right, making sure that we're simulcasting to YouTube and there's no glitches. But I see that Katie's tuning in through YouTube, so we should be fine. All right, put that over there. Okay. So while I was taking a little break, usually I remind people to drink your water. Hydration is very, very important. And let's just go through the agenda. What's this episode about? I'm reading The Blue-Nosed Witch by Margaret Embry. But before we do that, we are going to take a look at the astrology from Teresa Reed, aka the Tarot Lady. Yes, she is the Tarot Lady, the original Tarot Lady, except no substitutes. You can get more information about her at her website, www.thetarotlady.com. And the astrology that I read in part is from her wonderful subscription service, the AstroBiz Digest, which is astrology basically for entrepreneurs. But I found it really, really personal, really, really helpful in my personal life to know what the astrology is doing. So the language or the jargon is entrepreneurially geared, but you can just take what I'm saying and tweak it, and you should be fine for your own personal life. And if you don't know what your sun sign is, what your rising sign is, what your moon sign is, you can always get your natal chart done at places such as cafeastrology.com, astro.com. They can, as long as you have your birth date, your birth time, and your location where you were born, that is how you would generate your natal chart or your birth chart to be able to see your different personality quirks, weaknesses, how you relate to people, all sorts of different things. So an astrologer, of course, can give you more information and be able to help you read it. But there are some free sites in which you can get your natal chart read, have like a basic overview of what your natal chart means. But if you want to go in depth with it, you really want to work with an astrologer, which I am not. I know just enough astrology to be dangerous. All right, let me pull up the AstroBiz Digest. And remember that this is a subscription service. So for $99 a year, you're getting astrology, like weekly astrology updates, and also a monthly overview for the month. So like every single day, like you get an overview for the month, you get an overview for the week, each week, usually sent out on Sunday night. And it gives an overview for the week and then broken down Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Of what is going astrologically, what to look out for, power days for different signs, weekdays for other signs. So like if you're planning a launch, if you happen to be an entrepreneur, like I'm always looking at that to see when's a good day to take a day off from doing this broadcast, or when's a day to really supercharge my marketing efforts or send out my newsletter. So it's really wonderful to be able to plan your life and plan your business by the stars. So thank you to Teresa. And it's really, really affordable. I think it's only like $2 a week, truly, to have it be $99 a year to get this. Like, it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculously good deal. And I've been subscribed to it for about, like, I don't know, 3 to 4 years now. As long as she's been doing it, I've been a subscriber. So anyway, so I don't read, of course, all of it, because then that would take away from her business. So I usually give this caveat. This is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you want more astrology for like the rest of the week, go to her website, purchase the AstroBiz Digest. It is well worth your time. Okay? So remember that we're still Mercury in retrograde. And so all of this is going to be in Teresa's words. So things have a way of coming out into the open when Mercury is transiting Scorpio and retrograde. This past week, it's been professional jealousy, shade throwing. Do note this foul energy is still floating around. You may discover that you have a business frenemy or a hater hanging by the sidelines, looking for their chance to take a swipe. Keep in mind that whoever tries to start a war during Mercury and Mars retrograde loses. Put no energy into their game. You've got success to do. And Scorpio is, the sun is in Scorpio from the 22nd of this month to November 21st. So we're into Scorpio season now. Look under the hood of your business, especially the financials. This is a fab few weeks to get that part of your business in order and your life in order as well. Watch out for jealousy and competitiveness from yourself or others. And remember that you have intuition. Intuition is queen during this transit, which elevates your business instincts and your instincts in general. That weird hunch you have may turn out to be a winner. So keep that in mind. That's a general what's going on right now. If that resonates for you, click on those heart emojis or let me know in the chat. And happy birthday to all of the Scorpios that are watching right now. It is your season. So for Friday at 8:17 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the moon will be in Aquarius, making innovation, teamwork, and networking the focus for the next 2 days. But some icky energies are floating through today, so navigate with care. A moon-sun square at 9:23 a.m. Eastern Standard Time puts frenemies in your circle. A sneaky fox may be trying to get in the henhouse. Shields up. If someone seems to have an agenda, trust your gut. The moon will square Mercury at 5:49 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and suddenly conversations go nowhere. If you're trying to market, everyone is too distracted by the evening news, which may have a bombshell or two. Turn it off, grab a hot tea, and read a good book. So today is a power day for Aquarius and a weak day for Leo. So if you've joined me live, Nana Champ's back. Hi, welcome back. Thank you for tuning in again, Nana Champ. Happy birthday and happy Scorpio season to all of you Scorpios out there watching. I actually had one of my exes was a Scorpio, and they're intense. They're very, very intense. And also you want to watch out for where Scorpio is in someone's chart. Like, for example, Teresa herself has, she is not a Scorpio. She is a Gemini. But I believe I can't remember what it is, if her moon is in Scorpio, but she is excellent at keeping secrets. And we think, or she thinks, it's because Scorpio is in a prominent aspect in her chart. So secrecy and keeping things under a lid, ready to launch, or like that kind of energy. She's on that. So Scorpio in her chart is because of that, or that is because of the Scorpio in her chart. So I don't think I have any Scorpio in my chart personally. I'm pretty much all fire all the time. Triple Aries, y'all. Anyway, so happy Scorpio season. And remember what we've been saying for the last couple of episodes, for the last couple of Fridays, really, which is when I do these live shows. It's been like newsworthy. Friday evenings seem to hold like a big news story in each of them. Like a couple of weeks ago, or at least last month, it was Ruth Bader Ginsburg passing away. The news broke at the time that I was doing the live show. I can't remember what happened the next day. I think it was like the announcement that Trump had COVID. Like, so pay attention when Teresa says watch out for the news, there may be a bombshell or two. Pay attention, and if you don't want to deal with that energy, turn off the news. It's not that you're ignorant. You're not ignorant. You're just trying to practice your own self-care by taking a break from the crazy news cycle that's going on. So this is your permission slip to do that if you need to do that for your own mental health. Okay, so Saturday and Sunday. Saturday's Venus-Saturn trine at 11:41 a.m. the Eastern Standard Time casts the perfect spell for online marketing. The glow lasts all day, so be sure to send out your newsletters, publish a blog, and get your PR campaigns popping. The moon will be void at 5:54 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, ideal for shutting down the office and celebrating getting through another week. Sunday morning is best for a slow start. In fact, if you can sleep in, do it. The sun will be conjunct Mercury at 2:23 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is pretty stellar for PR and inspiring communication with your audience. If you have something to say, this is the time to say it. The moon will be in Pisces at 5:18 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, elevating creativity and intuition for the evening and into the next week. So remember, intuition is king at this time, and pretty much all the time, right? Two trines between the moon, Mercury, and sun starting at 9:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time generates the best vibe for a chill night discussing the future with your favorite people. Both days are power days for Aquarius and weak days for Leo. So that is the AstroBiz Digest from Teresa Reed. That's our astro weather that we've got going on right now. I hope it helps to serve you. If you guys have any comments about how your week's been going, how Mercury retrograde has been affecting you, I know it's been affecting me. It's been a really, really crazy week in my day job, and that's all I'm going to say about it. Lots of strange communication, and also X is coming out of the woodwork too, so you got to watch out for that as well. Venus retrograde, that happens as well, watching out for X's coming out of the woodwork, coming back into your orbit. But Mercury retrograde has that aspect to it too. So just because somebody comes into your orbit and gives you that invitation to engage with them doesn't mean you have to do it. You don't have to, just because you're invited to play the game doesn't mean you have to play. Okay? Okay. All right. I'm going to take a quick water break because I'm going to need it to lubricate my voice so that we can start reading The Blue-Nosed Witch by Margaret Embry. Very excited. That is the focus of tonight's episode. Oh, and just a quick reminder, there will be no show next week. So no show next Friday. I am taking a day off in order to celebrate Halloween and Samhain because tonight I am a blue-nosed witch. But every other night, I'm a witch. So I am a practicing witch. So this is a sacred holiday for me. So no show next Friday, October 30th. And we will resume again the Friday after that. And what I believe I'm going to do is I'm going to have a calendar, a schedule of episodes. So I'm going to plan that out before the first of each month. And that way you have that schedule so you can come and tune in live or catch the replays, whatever you want to do for episodes that you're interested in. So I hope that sounds good to everyone, having a plan. And for those of you who are reaching out and advertising your services on my Facebook Live, there's bad karma in that. You really shouldn't be doing it. It's kind of cheesy and it's in bad taste. So please don't advertise your reading services. This is my business. Thanks. If you are looking to book a reading with me, not right now, but after the episode, you can totally do that. There are phone readings, Skype readings, and email readings available right now. No in-person readings because of the pandemic still going on. My health is important. Your health is important to me too. But you can book at tarotbyhilary.com. I have an online scheduler. I'd be happy to work with you. All right. Blue-nosed witch. Blue-nosed witch. And while I'm hydrating, I want you to hydrate as well. Even though we're doing a fun episode tonight and we're not tapping really into our intuitions tonight, hydration is still very important. Ready? Are we ready? So, this is about a blue-nosed witch that is constantly late to everything. She has good intentions. She sets her alarm clock even earlier, and it turns out she's super, super early, so she goes trick-or-treating with some human children. That's the synopsis of the book. Feel free to comment, put in your reactions. So, The Blue-Nosed Witch. I'll try and show the pages as I'm reading or after I'm reading them so you can see the illustrations. The pictures are by Carl Rose for this edition, the Bantam Skylark 1983 edition. The cover, I believe the cover picture is not by Carl Rose though, because it looks different. Yeah, cover illustration is by Les Morrow. Not the same illustrator. The illustrator for this, for the inside pages, is Carl Rose. So, The Blue-Nosed Witch by Margaret Embry for Mary, who originally owned Brocket. Now, Brocket, you'll see, is Blanche's cat. Ready? Not more than 4 or 5 Halloweens ago, there was a very young witch named Blanche who owned a broom, a black kitten called Brocket, and a bright blue nose. She belonged to a very special scurry of witches, scurry number 13, known in the best witch circles all over the country for its beautiful flight formation. The Grande Madame, who had been leader of the group for as long as any of them could remember, flew center front. She used a vacuum cleaner instead of a broom, and when she gunned her motor, it sounded as exciting as a fire siren. On the far right was Minnie Max waving her blood-red fingernails in the dark. They really did shine like rubies. And on the far left was Blanche's best friend, Josephine, who had long, yellow, fluorescent teeth that gleamed like stars. I don't think that's very attractive, but okay. So here is Blanche and Brocket on the end of her broom. In between and a little behind flew the 9 rather ordinary witches who were only expected to follow the Grande Madame's lead and cackle with horrid glee at appropriate times. And at last came Blanche, usually far, far behind. If it hadn't been for her marvelous blue nose that she could turn on and off at will, she wouldn't have been allowed in scurry number 13 at all. Blanche was always late. She had good intentions and a dependable alarm clock, but somehow she could never get started any place on time. Something always happened at the last minute to delay her. Brocket, the black kitten, would run away, or Blanche would have misplaced her broom, or she would have had to finish her comic, or have just one more piece of bread and peanut butter and honey. You see, said Minnie Max to Josephine, Blanche is still just a baby, and she ought to be sent back to scurry number 2.5. Then she'd have to ride a whisk broom, not go any higher than the tops of the poplar trees, and never stay out after midnight with the rest of the grown-ups. If she's late one more time, I'm going to report her to the Grande Madame. I know Blanche is young and scatterbrained, agreed Josephine, but don't bother the Grande Madame with it. I'll take care of her. I promise she'll be on time for our next flight meeting. That's Halloween night, Minnie Max warned. Sharp at midnight, we're taking off from Dead Man's Bluff. Afterwards, if we make a good showing against the moon, there'll be dancing and chanting and a pot of brew. You'd better see that Blanche is at least a half an hour early. I'll have her there on time, promised Josephine, if I have to set her alarm an hour ahead. So here is Minnie Max and Josephine. As it turned out, Josephine switched the clock ahead, not 1 hour, but 2, just for good measure. That probably would have been all right, but Blanche herself, as she was getting ready for bed at noon the day of Halloween, had the same good idea as well. She wound her clock and set it ahead an extra hour and a half, and then just a little more in case Brocket would be hard to find. But when the alarm shrieked that evening, Brocket for once was perched demurely on the bedpost right where she belonged, her fur newly licked smooth. Blanche yawned and brushed the straw out of her hair and rolled out of bed without her usual dilly-dallying. She washed her face and hands and polished up her blue nose. So here's Josephine being sneaky and setting the clock ahead, the alarm. And here is Blanche polishing up her blue nose. Notice the clock says 8 o'clock. Her broom was standing neatly behind the kitchen door. Brocket hopped on eagerly without having to be coaxed. The clock said 12:15, midnight. Actually, of course, it was scarcely 8:30 when they padlocked the front door and poked the key under the mat. Actually, that's a... Oh, sorry. No, but it says 8. Illustrator put the clock wrong. It's not very dark out, said Blanche said to the kitten as they soared over town. We're probably much, much too early. Wonder if anyone is there yet. Blanche looked down below and saw a strange procession marching along the sidewalk. She dived lower for a better view. There was quite a tall witch in the lead. Why, that looks like Josephine. But whatever is she doing with that crowd? And walking? Maybe her broom broke down. There were 3 ghosts, a pirate, a cowboy carrying a 6-shooter and a lighted pumpkin, and a gypsy with spangled earrings. Blanche settled down on the sidewalk and fell in step behind the tall witch. At once she saw it wasn't Josephine. Oh, excuse me, said Blanche. I thought you were somebody I know. The tall witch turned and stared. She had a rubbery look to her face, and her hair was stringy and obviously false. Josephine was always so careful about her hair. So there's Blanche looking down at the procession, and here are the trick-or-treaters. Hey, shouted one of the ghosts. Where did you get that blue light on your nose? That's really neat. The little pirate, pulling at Blanche's skirts, pleaded, Let me see it. Let me see it. How does it work? Asked the cowboy, setting down his pumpkin. So Blanche showed them. She made her nose grow bright and then fade palely away, then bright again and wink off and on like a turn signal. Gee, said the cowboy, that's swell. I didn't see anything like that over at the dime store. Where did you buy it? Let me try it, begged the pirate, pulling again. I didn't buy it, Blanche said primly, and I can't take it off and on and let you try it. But I'll do it again for you if you quit yanking my dress. Leave her alone, Butch, said the tall witch, giving the pirate a shove. Turning to Blanche, she explained, He's my little brother. I told Mother he was too young to go out Halloweening with us, but he always has to tag along. Oh, that's all right, Blanche said generously. I don't mind letting him see if he wants to. She leaned down so Butch could feel her nose carefully. Hey, if you show us how the switch works, I'll give you one of my jelly donuts, the biggest ghost offered, holding out a brown paper bag. Blanche grinned at them. There really isn't a switch at all, she said. It just works by concentration. I think about lighting up my nose, and it begins to glow. When I want it to shine very bright, I think hard, like this. She wrinkled her forehead and squinted her eyes. The nose glowed a bright, clear blue. See? Simply concentration. The ghost opened his bag. That's really super, he said. Here, have a donut. Blanche reached in eagerly. She hadn't had a jelly donut in weeks and weeks. Where did you get these? They're wonderful, she said, chewing happily. Over at Smith's. They have the best stuff. Last year was caramel apples. Come along and we'll show you which house. Blanche trailed along willingly, with Butch the pirate holding firmly to her hand. What's your name? He asked as they walked along. I'm Blanche, she said. Blanche who? Butch's sister, the tall witch, asked. Just Blanche. She's Blanche Witch, that's who, Butch said reasonably. The cowboy turned around mischievously. Which witch? And all the ghosts joined in with great glee. Blanche Witch, that's which witch. They climbed the steps to Smith's front porch, all chanting the refrain, Blanche Witch, that's which witch. The gypsy rang the doorbell. A man with white hair opened the door. He gaped. But candy or cake or your windows will break, they yelled at him. But you kids have all been here before, he protested. Yes, but she hasn't, they laughed, pushing Blanche out in front of Mr. Smith. Her nose turns on and off, said the pirate. Show him. Blanche showed him obligingly. Say, that's really something, said the man. Come here, mother, and see this. See, that's the 1956 there. A lady sitting in a rocking chair got up and came over to the door. She gave a little gasp when she saw Blanche's nose. Whatever will they think of next? These modern kids? Sure, that's worth 2 donuts at least, said Mr. Smith. Hold your sack. She hasn't got one, said the pirate, who noticed right away. Mrs. Smith bustled right off to her kitchen and returned with a brown paper bag. There now, she said. And here are 3 jelly donuts, and I put in some nuts and candy corn too, because you might not have time to go to many more houses. Thank you, ma'am, said Blanche, remembering her manners. And please, could you tell me what time it is? Her husband pulled out his pocket watch. Let's see, it's just 6.5 minutes after 9 o'clock. Just after 9 o'clock, Blanche asked, bewildered. But I thought it was nearly midnight. The time seems to be all turned around. It usually is on Halloween, laughed Mr. Smith. Anything can happen tonight. Well, good night, kids, and don't soap any windows. We won't, they shouted, racing down the steps. Good night, and thanks. They stopped at the corner and looked at each other a little uncertainly, trying to decide just what to do next. Oh, cried Blanche in a panic. I've lost my broom and my cat. The tall witch stared at her. Broom? You didn't have any broom with you. She did too, the pirate said, with a little black kitty sitting on the sweet part. I'll bet she left it back on Maple Street where we stopped to look at her nose, said the gypsy. Let's all walk back and help her find her stuff. The gypsy was right. The broom was exactly where Blanche had left it, leaning against a tree. Brocket was perched up in the branches, spitting at a yellow dog who was circling around below. Brocket refused to come down until the cowboy shooed the dog away. Then she jumped lightly down onto her mistress's shoulder. Poor little Brocket. Oh, thanks, Katie. Thank you. I do love this book. It's really adorable. Now you can see why I reread it every Halloween. Obviously, I can read higher than this level, but it's just one of those comfort things that I do every Halloween. Blanche shifted the kitten to a more comfortable position, and she looked around happily. Well, what do we do now? There's plenty of time. I can go to only one more place, said the short ghost, so let's hurry. Yes, we promised Mom we'd have him back at by 9:15, said the biggest ghost. No, it was 9:30, said the middle-sized ghost. As long as we're out this far, the gypsy suggested, why don't we circle back by way of Old Man Skinner's house? He has apples. The others stared at the gypsy in alarm. He's mean, the pirate explained to Blanche. He sure is, the cowboy nodded in agreement and set down his pumpkin. Old Man Skinner said we stole his apples, and we didn't. The wind blew them down, but he wouldn't believe us. That was way last year, said the gypsy. He's maybe changed his mind by now, and everybody says he's got the best apples in town. I'd sure like one now. Let's go. She started walking. Bet he hasn't changed, said the biggest ghost, holding back the other 2 ghosts. He hit my dog with a rock last summer just because we were cutting across the back of his lot on our way down to the creek. Yeah, Old Man Skinner's got a slingshot, and he's a good shot with it, too, said the middle-sized ghost. I've seen him hit birds with it way up on the telephone wires. He said that they were eating his cherries. Oh, that was last spring, said the gypsy airily. Let's just go out and call on him. Maybe he's lonely, said Blanche. She was thinking of those apples. We can say trick or treat very politely, and maybe he'll treat for once. The cowboy picked up his pumpkin. I'm game, Blanche, he said. I'll go with you, but I can tell you right now he doesn't like kids, especially on Halloween. But he's never seen Blanche, the tall witch said. Maybe if he saw her wonderful nose. Yes, said the gypsy. Let's go out there and show him Blanche's keen blue nose. Then maybe he'll give us some apples. He's got some special good ones this year. I saw them on the trees. They formed another procession. Blanche was in the lead in this bunch. She carried her broom over her shoulder, with Brockett sitting in place on the end. The road was long and twisty. Blanche was limping a little before they got there. Her feet hurt because she wasn't used to walking so far, but she didn't let on. There was a light behind the curtains of Mr. Skinner's house and smoke coming out of his chimney. They climbed onto the porch, giggling nervously. Miss Gypsy gave a brave 1, 2, 3 knock. No answer. He must be home, whispered the tall witch. He has a fire in his fireplace. They waited. Then all of them pounded noisily. At once the door opened a crack, and a thin, long nose hanging over a tight little mustache poked out at them. The cowboy raised his pumpkin, even though the candle was burned out by now. Trick or treat? He asked hopefully. At this, the door opened wider. 2 suspicious eyes glared. Halloweening, is it? You young pests, go home where you belong. I've got no time for your nonsense. Please, sir, said Blanche sweetly. May we have some apples? Apples, snorted the man. He scowled at Blanche a moment, then said, Want some apples, eh? You wait right here. As soon as he had disappeared, the gypsy and the tall witch nodded, as if to say, Didn't we tell you? But the pirate said, Maybe he didn't go to get apples. Maybe he went for his slingshot. Shut up, Butch, his sister whispered. He's gone down to the cellar for apples. The gypsy shook her earrings and straightened her scarf. She wasn't so sure now. I want to go home, said the smallest ghost in a trembling voice. Yes, said the biggest ghost, shakily too. We promised Mom we'd be home with him by 9:15. At that moment, Mr. Skinner returned, holding a small cardboard box filled with some smallish apples. Thanks, gee, thanks, everybody said, surprised as he handed the apples around. The apples looked red and good in the light from the door, and everybody at about the same time bit into them. Ugh, pah, they all said, spitting out. The apples were mushy and brown inside and tasted terrible. You came here yapping for apples, didn't you? Yapped Mr. Skinner. And I gave you apples, didn't I? What's the matter? Aren't they good enough for you? They were good enough last year when you came around and tried to steal them and broke all my tree limbs. No, we didn't, honest, Mr. Skinner, pleaded the biggest ghost. And who stole all my green corn and frightened my hens so they wouldn't lay? And then you come around here begging for my good apples. Well, they're all picked and sold, so you can just go home or I'll... Flash your nose at him, whispered the pirate, tugging at Blanche's skirts. Scare him. Blanche winked her nose on and off venomously, but he just snorted at her and slammed the door. Why, he wasn't even impressed, said the gypsy in fury. And it's a perfectly frightening nose, too. Let's soap his windows, said the middle-sized ghost. Anybody got any soap? Too bad none of the kids carry it anymore, sighed the tall witch. It'd be good to have some in case of an emergency, like this. I know, Blanche whispered. Brockett, you do something. Up on that windowsill with you, and give him the you-know-what. The black cat's eyes got yellower. Softly, she leaped up to the windowsill, then stretched up onto her hind legs and scratched with her front claws up and down the screen. It sounded worse than gravel being grated on a sidewalk and squeaky chalk on a blackboard. On top of this, she yet let out a caterwauling yowl that tore through the night, frightful enough to make people jump out of their shoes. The door flew open and out rushed Mr. Skinner, madder than an old hornet. He had a slingshot and he meant business. Everybody turned at once and fled. He took after them down the road, but he was too angry to aim well. The stones from his slingshot spattered at their feet, but nobody was hit. On her broom, meanwhile, Blanche spiraled around his house and up to the chimney. Smoke was curling out of it. He's got a mighty cozy fire down there, she said to herself, but he won't have it for long. She landed on the steep ridge of the roof and then climbed cautiously down to the big brick chimney. Leaning her broom against it, she boosted herself up so she could blow down it. Putting a hearth fire out was a trick that Minnie Max had taught her only a week or so before, and this was Blanche's first chance to try it by herself. She took a big breath of air and blew down the chimney as hard as she could, thinking just the right words as she did this and giving each blow just the right swirl. With the third blow down, the smoke slunk back. She raised her head and took another deep gulp of fresh air and blew again. She blew again and again until her ears buzzed and her nose turned green. Down below, the smoke came out of the open door in a great cloud. Mr. Skinner, thinking for sure his house was on fire, stopped chasing his visitors and ran back toward the porch. Blanche straddled her broom and gave a spring up into the air. Down she swooped over his head, buzzing him and laughing, but he was running too fast to see her. She caught up with the rest of the crowd on the corner of Maple Street, where they had gathered around Brockett. The gypsy was trembling so much her earrings were jingling like sleigh bells. The short ghost had torn his sheet, and the eye holes in his pillowcase were switched way around to the back of his head so he couldn't see which way he was going. Golly, breathed the cowboy as Blanche dismounted from her broom. That sure beats walking. Doesn't it have a switch either? The tallest ghost asked. Blanche smiled. No, it doesn't need a switch. Not even an engine? Asked the middle ghost. Blanche thought a minute. Well, I guess there's a sort of one. What kind of fuel do you use? The tallest ghost asked again. Well, Blanche hesitated again. The cowboy said it doesn't need fuel, dope. It works by concentration, like her nose. Yes, I guess that's it, said Blanche. I think how high I need to fly, and that's all there is to it. Let me try it, the pirate begged. I can concentrate. No, you don't, said his sister. You'd fall off and break your arm just like you did on the tire swing. It only works for me, said Blanche. I've got to go home, said the smallest ghost in a muffled tone, trying to pull his pillowcase straight. So have we, the tall witch said, grabbing her little brother. So long, Blanche. Here, I want to give her these first, said the pirate, wriggling out of her grasp. He dropped 3 sticky black jelly beans into Blanche's sack. When she tried to thank him, he shouted back, "Oh, that's all right. I only like the orange kind." Blanche and Brockett soared over town again. The streets were nearly deserted, and most of the houses were dark. I can't understand why people always want to go to bed so early, just when things are beginning to get interesting, Blanche said to Brockett. If somebody were only still awake, we could ring some more doorbells. A little further on, she looked down and saw a lighted house with several cars parked along the street in front of it. Look, maybe it's a party, and they may have some extra candy and nuts. She landed expertly on the front lawn, and almost before she could ring the bell, the door was opened wide. "Hello," said a man. "Come on in." "Oh, I thought you were the Jennings. They're late, and everybody else is here." "Oh my," said a lady, looking over his shoulder. "It's just a little girl, and look at that cute costume. Out by yourself Halloweening, dear?" Blanche nodded and winked her nose at them. "Trick or treat?" she asked properly. Hey, everybody come here, said the man excitedly. Look at this. She's got a neon nose. A dozen people got up out of their chairs and came over to crowd around the door. What a darling little kitty, said one lady, leaning down to pick up Rocket. Be careful, ma'am, said Blanche. She doesn't like humans very much. Listen to that, giggled the lady. She just said humans, just like she was a real little witch. Isn't she precious? Aren't you out pretty late by yourself? Asked another lady, looking at her watch. What will your mother say? It's almost midnight. Then Blanche remembered the flight meeting. It would be leaving sharp at midnight from Dead Man's Bluff. Excuse me, everybody, she cried out. I've got to go right now. I'm going to be late again. But they made her wait while they filled her brown paper bag with chocolate mints, salted nuts, pumpkin seeds, and pretzels. Then they made her wink her nose on and off for them just one more time. Don't fall off your broom, little witch, said one lady fondly as Blanche ran down the front steps. Afterwards, the lady peeped out of the window over the door and gave a scream. I'm positively sure I saw that little girl hop on her broom and fly away. The other people at the party roared with laughter and wouldn't believe she wasn't joking. Aloft in the late night air, Blanche wasn't laughing. She was worried. It looked as though after all her trouble in trying to get started on time, she was going to be late anyhow. As she came to Dead Man's Bluff for a landing, she could see all of the witches in the scurry lined up in flight formation. Minnie Max was pulling out her watch to show Josephine and saying triumphantly, You see, I told you she'd be late again. Blanche settled down meekly at the end of the formation. At least they hadn't taken off yet. Scurry number 13 made a beautiful showing against the moon that Halloween night. And afterwards, they danced and sang and had refreshments up on Dead Man's Bluff. Josephine ladled out the brew. Blanche passed around the nuts, candy, pretzels, and the 3 jelly donuts carefully cut in quarters. Mighty good donuts, said the Grand Madame, looking around for more. Where did you say you got them, Blanche? Out trick-or-treating, said Blanche. That's what made me late tonight. But you'd meet the most interesting people that way. If you ladies think you can find time for it next Halloween, I'll take you along, too. The end. Thank you all so much for listening. I know it's a really, really cute story, and this is my Halloween tradition that I do every year. I'm happy to share it with you guys, just like I shared with you how to make a spirit board on your own, how to make charm casting on your own. So I'm very happy to read that out loud to you. Please note that I don't own the copyright to this. It is, I don't know if it's a public domain at this point. I suspect it might be, but it's The Blue-Nosed Witch by Margaret Embry. Aw, thank you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this instead of teaching a topic. And of course, there's so many topics to teach. You know, for tarot, for divination. So at the start of the month, we did spirit boards and Ouija boards. We did charm casting last week, and we did this week. So, yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's a kind of like old trope. The bad-tempered man's house reminds me of the house from the movie Monster House. I did not see that movie, but there's always that trope. Like, and it's like old man Skinner. It's like it's so cliche. It really is. Like, I've heard that before, you know, not just in this book. So, oh, thank you, Katie. So November, we will have a schedule of episodes just like we did for October, and I'm open to suggestions. Whatever you guys want me to teach for tarot, for magic, for divination, for general tarot topics, I'm here for you. And there are a ton of episode replays that you can go and find in both my Facebook business page and the video section, or on YouTube, on my YouTube channel as well. So I have a playlist for both. So you can check out all of the free workshops that I've already done. And there's a year's worth of content already because I've been doing this for over a year now. So live every Friday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will just remind people of that time, Fridays, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. However, there will be no show next week, Friday, October 30th, because I am taking that day off in order to celebrate Halloween, aka Samhain, because it is a high holiday for us witches that are regular witches and not just blue-nosed witches. So, any other thoughts about the blue-nosed witch before we move on to the weekend forecast? And just keep in mind, I am a professional tarot reader, so I do have appointments available if you want to book a reading with me. It's tarotbyhilary.com. There's an online scheduler there, and I'm available for appointment times, weeknights and weekends, but you do have to schedule. There's no like walk-in appointments or anything, just a general time in which I have allotted in order to do appointments. So it's usually weeknights and on the weekends. And I'm already scheduled for a phone reading tomorrow and an email reading this weekend with a personalized EFT tapping session. So all of those purchase options are available on my website, so you can look there. Oh, thank you, and thank you. I will have a good Samhain. Thank you, Katie. All right, let me take a little bit of a water break. And I'm going to go grab a tarot deck or an oracle deck for the weekend forecast. Actually, let me go with an oracle card. I'm going to pull from the Starseed Oracle by Rebecca Campbell and Danielle Noel. So I will be right back. Give me 30 seconds. All right, it is time for the weekend forecast. So for those of you who are looking for a free reading, now is the time. This is the free reading that I give every episode. It's a tarot reading or an oracle reading for the collective for the weekend, aka the weekend forecast. So listen up. So today I am working with the Starseed Oracle. I'm pulling from there, which is by Rebecca Campbell with illustrations and artwork by Danielle Noel. They also have the Work Your Light Oracle, which is an oracle and words collaboration. And Danielle Noel is the creator of the Star Child and the Moon Child tarot decks. So let's see what we have in store for this weekend. Okay, so because this is an oracle deck, what I like to do is I usually read from the companion or the guidebook that comes with the oracle deck, because oracle decks can have their own structure, their own specific cards to them. It's not like tarot where you have the Fool card, the World card, the Two of Swords. You know, each oracle can have a structure in and of itself. So I usually read the companion book and then I provide my own interpretation of that oracle card. So actually, this card is the very first card in this oracle deck, the Starseed Oracle, and it is a new earth. It's happening. Keep holding the vision. Don't give up now. You're closer than you think. I know it's hard to hold the frequency of a new age when it feels as if so much is crumbling and so many are losing faith. This is your sign that you're facing the right direction. You have a great gift in being able to see the potential of things before they exist. Tend to the new seeds. Dream them into existence. Don't lose faith now. Keep your focus fixed. Planting new seeds and bringing about a shift of the ages is no mean feat. It requires extreme trust and a radical vision. If you pulled this card, it's a reminder to have faith. You chose to be here, to be part of this global shift. Whether you're bringing it about through prayer and meditation or through working on a new project, job, or creation, keep going. It's happening. Don't give up now. The world needs more dreamers like you, more people with hope in their hearts. The road ahead may not be plain sailing. Ushering in a new age in times of change never is. You're being encouraged to remember that what you've been working toward for so long is almost here. Don't question yourself now. Don't waver. Dig your devotion deep. For if you do, in the not too distant future, you'll be able to sit back and watch all that you've so carefully planted and nurtured grow and blossom. It's possible. Keep focusing on your dreams. You're closer than you think. So the inquiry question you want to ask yourself right now is, how can you keep holding the vision? So to me, this oracle card matches up really well with the Seven of Pentacles out of the tarot, where he's looking down, he's nurturing he's already sown the seeds and he's watching them grow. He's contemplating, and he may be considering giving up, but like, don't give up before the miracle happens. Let me see actually if I can display the Seven of Pentacles so I can show you what I'm talking about here. Let's see, 7P. Here we go. Hold on one second. So this is the Seven of Pentacles. Now, I didn't work with the tarot deck for this particular weekend forecast. I pulled from an oracle deck, a new earth, but the messages that's coming from the companion book or the guidebook for this oracle card, I feel matches very well with the Seven of Pentacles energy. So notice those 7 pentacles on that bush. He's got the hoe, he's leaning on it, he's looking down, he's contemplating. So this is a card of like, you've sown the seeds in the past, now watch them go and don't grow and don't give up. Don't lose heart. Like, the miracle is about to happen, but how much would it suck if you give up right before there's a shift or a change, or everything that you've been working for is about to happen, but you give up just that minute or that half an hour too soon. This is not to say to keep clinging to a situation that's no longer for you. Your intuition knows the difference. You can feel it in your body when you're clinging to a wrong situation or when you know you're so close. And you just need to get still and get silent so that you can hear those messages and hear your intuition talking to you, because your intuition does know the difference between a situation that it's time to release and a situation that you need to keep on going. So that is our weekend forecast for this weekend. It's applicable for today, for tomorrow, for Sunday. I hope that it resonates for you. And even if you're not watching live right now and you happen to be hearing this message 6 months from now, if it's still applicable for you, if those words are resonating for you, then this is your reading for you at this specific time. And I hope it helps you. So I think that's it for tonight's episode. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a wonderful Halloween. If you celebrate Halloween, have a wonderful Samhain. If you're celebrating Samhain, honor your beloved dead and your ancestors. Remember that the veils are very thin right now, and that if you want to be in contact with your spirits and with your ancestors, now's the time. They're available 365 days of the year, by the way, and all they want to do is talk to you, but we need to get out of our own way to be able to hear them. So, but now is a great time to connect with them, pour a little bit of water out for them in their memory, have a dumb supper where you fix a plate for them and you eat in silence and allow for those messages from them to come to you. So these are all exercises that you can do to honor your beloved dead and your ancestors on Samhain, which is next weekend, but the energy is being felt right now. So enjoy, celebrate, honor each other, honor yourself as well. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. So you're welcome, Katie. You're welcome, Devon. And thank you to all of you that have not commented and are watching and appreciating in the silence of your hearts. Just because you don't put it in the chat doesn't mean you're not watching. I appreciate you too, of course. All right, so once again, I am Hilary, professional tarot reader, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful and wonderful of gifts, your own intuition, through the magic and the power of the tarot. Because yes, my friend, do not argue with me. You have intuition. I believe everyone has intuition. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Remember, no live show next week, but we will resume again in November, the first week of November. Okay? That's it. Have a wonderful